Well, being to order, adequate notice of this meeting being held this 15th day of June, May 2025 at 7:31 has been provided for in section 3D of chapter 331 of the public laws of 1975, commonly known as the Sunshine Law. These are out of the way. Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
New York,
Here.
Nelson,
Here.
Cotton,
Here.
Kenny,
Here.
Lindsay,
Here.
Mr. O'Brien is excused, Mr. Decker is excused, Mooney here, and Mr. DeLuca.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then a motion to open public comment on the agenda.
I make a motion to open the public comment on agenda.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any comment on the agenda itself?
Good afternoon, Barbara Cochran, 507 Charlestown Road. Could you explain what is the job of the Commissioner for Public Alliance Insurance? The resolution, right, that is in the agenda. What is the job?
So we, municipality participates in a joint insurance fund, so it's I don't know how many there are, there's about 170 municipalities. And each municipality has a representative, because it's like a shared insurance.
You're all under the same insurance umbrella.
Yes, and it's like we have ownership of that policy.
Okay.
If you will, so Mr. Cotton will be the official, so he attends board meetings as a member, makes decisions to hopefully save us money on insurance. I'm the alternate after serving quite a few years. He's also been served as well. So really, we attend meetings, we vote on issues that may or may not impact the actual rates of the insurance. And that's really my function.
Okay, thank you.
Any other agenda questions? Question closed?
Make a motion to close.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
With that, there a motion to adopt resolution 2025-54, appointment of fund commissioner to the PACE fund. Mr. Cotton is the fund commissioner and myself is the alternate.
I make a motion to adopt that resolution.
All in favor? I have a motion to pay all bills in the amount of $287,507.26.
Make a motion to pay the bills in that amount.
Second. Roll call vote, please.
Cotton,
Yes.
Kenny,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Nelson. Yes. New York.
Yes. Mr. Municipal engineer was excused from the meeting. He did speak with me earlier today and has no updated report. A report of public safety officials, since there are many with us, this is always a standing space on our agenda, so you're welcome to say anything tonight, but also know that this is standing, so if you ever wanted to come in individually or as a group at any time, you'll always have a space to speak at our meetings.
Thank you. Yeah, we're anxious to hear the outcome of the report.
Very good. No old business, so we'll move right into new business, and then have a motion to open discussion on the analysis of fire protection and EMS services report by Kramer Consulting.
Make a motion to open that discussion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We'll begin with the committee, and then if there's any questions, I know you haven't seen it, we just have it as a draft report. So we will be just disseminating that to you, but this is the time for committee members who have a chance to see it, have any questions.
Yeah, I reviewed the report and actually kudos to all of our first responders because they all came out with, very good reports, thanking them for all their service. Basically, I think the biggest issue, I think, which is obvious that we all pretty much know already, is the rate of volunteerism is falling. And that would probably be the biggest issue that we would need to address. Not exactly sure what the committee members may have to say.
Can't wait, bigger than the comments, this is what we have, this is what we got to work on, and we try to draw up, as we've been saying for years. Yeah, volunteers and backup for there.
'em. 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 '
But that is like, cost coverage, so between individuals and combining the departments. I think we just continue trying to find ways to work with the fire department to one of the first squad to see what we can try to do. I know we've talked about this before and it sort of picks up, but maybe sort of have some discussions down where we go from there. And they can have some comments and ideas and throw out there, you know, we know now.
And there's.
Okay.
Yeah, so the report, I said, we'll share it, 120 pages. Photos, I don't think you guys need to see photos of your own equipment, but there are some recommendations, and yeah, I think you should be in that, and you know, I spoke, I know, to the chiefs this week, just in general. You should be commended for finding ways to work together already. I think that was probably the conclusion or some recommendation to staffing is the biggest issue. You all know, you know, I was hoping that there'd be more of a recommended solution than what was in here. But, you know, I was with county commissioners last night, and we were talking about fire departments and staffing and how demographics have changed in Hunter County. I was with the mayor of Stockton, who I spoke to for the very first time this week as well, and they merged two departments down in Stockton. So he was sharing that, but again, it was staffing. So I think the key is keeping the communications open and seeing how we can support this. Obviously, there's no quick or easy solution to this report or the solution. So that's, you know, that's all we have. I suggest that we maybe schedule or set up some sort of maybe regular meeting schedule, maybe twice a year, or even, you know, you guys already have a lot of obligations, but to try to see if we can find ways to support, maybe some different things we can talk about.
Yeah, we can discuss, you know, maybe not so much a formal meeting, we can do it for emails too, whatever else is communications. Again, trying to figure out ways, I don't know what we can do or what you guys can do, you guys know better at that, and get the whole move that we can.
Before I open for all of public comment, does anybody have any objection or issues with the report as delivered? Can we really release it as no longer being a draft and share?
Yeah, it's a draft, maybe, yes, it's final.
Yeah. Yes, no, but I'm sorry. Yes.
Making sure that we should draft until.
No, it would, yeah, no, I just want to make sure that there's nothing that you would want.
No, there's nothing in there.
We got a motion on the phone.
Motion on the public?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any questions or comments? No, I appreciate your time coming out. It's sort of inconclusive, but we're hoping that it leads to some discussions.
Yeah.
Good evening, Rob Walden, Chief of Hampton Fire Company. Just a couple of things to speak about regarding staffing. The Fire Chiefs Association here in Hunterdon County does have a staffing committee. I'm a member of that committee. We are looking at a number of things to try to improve recruitment. One of the challenges that we run into is the number of hours required to become firefighter 1 certified. And the state is always leaning towards more classes, not less, and including perhaps making firefighter 2 a requirement to be able to serve as a firefighter in this state. So that's kind of the headwinds we're fighting against. We're advocating for reducing those times. Every hour of fire school has to be done in person, in class. This is 2025. We can do a lot of that stuff online with knowledge checks at the end. So there's all sorts of different ways we could reduce that number of hours required to become firefighter 1 certified. We've been reaching out to the other chiefs associations in the state, look for other counties that are also interested in joining this effort and trying to reduce those hours. That's one effort that the Chiefs Association is working on. Many of you may recall a decade ago now, we worked on a countywide daytime paid department that would help augment daytime response. The hurdle there was that in the municipal law, it does allow municipalities to establish fire departments, but it doesn't explicitly allow counties to. So depending on how you interpret it, maybe an explicit permission to is not the same thing as being able to. So it's, I guess, open to interpretation. But at the time, county council said that because there was not explicit permission for the county to create a paid department, they could not. So that's another effort we were looking at, doing. Someone Peterson actually, drafted a bill. I'm not sure if it went very far, but he certainly was a champion of that effort. We've all tried the usual recruitment efforts, the signs, please join, the Facebook posts, going to community events and encouraging people to join. And they have different degrees of success. The 5 chiefs on the fire side have talked about working together in a renewed effort to especially target Bethlehem Township residents to join the fire company and trying to do things together to show that even though we're not named Bethlehem Township, we really are Bethlehem Township Fire Companies, in the hopes that might get some folks to join. But it's a real challenge. And it isn't just the fire service that volunteers in this town, it's across the board and all sorts of community endeavors. So if anybody has an answer, we're open to it, but please know we are working hard at investigating it. We've looked at some other companies that are outside of New Jersey that have successful programs. Delaware gives $1,000 tax credit to firefighters, I believe, and they only have a 130-hour requirement for firefighter 1. Delaware is a fairly similar state in attitude towards public services. New Jersey is, and requirements and regulation. So we're just kind of an outlier as far as the firefighter 1 rules go. There really are very few financial incentives for firefighters in New Jersey. There's a LoSAP program that some municipalities can offer, which offers a retirement benefit at the end. We have the Relief Association. So you have a death benefit for when you die, your funeral is paid for, which is nice. But there's not a whole lot of other financial incentives for people to join the volunteer fire service. And certainly the state could explore those options as well to incentivize volunteers to join the fire company. I'm happy to answer any questions or questions or concerns you might have about fire companies also.
Just one thing you were saying before, the meetings in your some of the meetings, is there something maybe we in other towns can try to do to try to help?
Yes.
Okay, we're small, man, pushing a rock up the hill, but we have a bunch of people pulled together trying to push up this hill. Maybe get better. So it's something that we in the committee or other towns can do as well.
So that effort stalled several years ago once we ran into the stumbling block of not having clear legislative ability to start a department here in New Jersey, at the county level. We've re-engaged with those actions and those efforts. We will be coming at some point, I suspect, to our municipalities here in Hunterdon County for support. We want to try to find a way to build bipartisan, rural, suburban, urban support. North, south, we don't want to try to make this just one niche issue for one county or one particular political affiliation, but rather create a groundswell from all the fire companies and try to create something statewide perhaps. So yes, committee, we will be coming back for support, but to give us a little time to better organize.
Any questions? Mr. Walton and I had a very productive conversation yesterday about hopefully finding some ways to change the hour requirements and the abilities. And that was one of the things that we can do as elected officials, is hopefully influence legislators within our districts and throughout the state to make those changes and make the plate. I appreciate your comments on staffing. In no way are we indicating that it's your sole responsibility. We're here to support that and try to solve this issue together, because that's our role, and we just are identifying. So identifying the problem is always the first step. This is not as easy to find a solution. We have talked about, and I don't say they're off the table, so I'm looking at our CFO, waiving certain, permit fees and license fees in Bethlehem for volunteers. Tax incentives, from my perspective, wouldn't be off the table, but I think that these fees and things we talk about to try to help incentivize, or at least as a courtesy, thank you too. So we can open those discussions. Well,
yeah, part of our frustration with the rationale for many of the training hours that are required for firefighters is to make us safer. We certainly appreciate that concern, but it's having the opposite effect because it's keeping people from being in the fire service. So we show up at a daytime call and we're not sure how many people are going to be coming. And it's a concern. So we wind up taking risks that maybe we shouldn't be taking because we want to do the right thing by our residents. So we're struggling. It's definitely an issue and definitely a concern.
And they're trying to solve the problem with us, and we're there. It's not a problem solving person.
Okay. Like me. So my name's Tom Lasney, chief of the Pattenberg Rescue Squad. The gentleman did the analysis. He also did for Union Township. One of his recommendations is for us and Pattenberg Fire to merge. I talked to the guy from Surgeonsville. The person who did theirs is kind of on the committee and kind of helped them along, so he really doesn't do it. I know Mike, two Mikes and I have discussed possibly doing something like that. But just a little perspective. We appreciate the money you give us. We do. The four townships that we covered, we give it $155,000. My payroll last year was $320,000. Volunteerism is almost nil. It cost us $1,800 to send someone through EMT school with no guarantee if they're even going to stick through. I sent 2 through, and I haven't seen them since. One didn't pass, and the other one there. So there's talk about trying to make it so, like right now, the county helps pay for the fire schools. They're helping try to do it for the EMT. Look, who's here? Who's online? It's everywhere. And nobody wants to hear about taxes. I'm in Alexandria, and I'd be for some kind of fire tax. But you guys set the guidelines of what you would want for requirements in order to get the funds handed out. Whether, you know, but to run my little department's $500,000. You know, and we look for ways to, you know, we went to replace an ambulance. One was $275,000, is now $375,000, went up almost $100,000. So now we're going back to trying to redo to what they call remount the old one. But we have a special stretcher in there that, you know, it's a power stretcher. And now they say, well, this one's not gonna be grandfathered in, we need so many inches in there. So now we gotta retrofit the old ambulance. Now we're almost to the price of a new ambulance. And then what used to happen was we would take some of the money from the contributions and open up a nest egg. Well, it might have been $100,000, now it's 50, now it's like 20. And now, you know, it's just because the payroll, you know, in order to be able to, you know, if someone calls to be able to cover the area, and to get out. And we do rely on mutual aid. We do, you know, like we'll help South Branch helps us. We are unfortunately going into Greenwich. I didn't think that was gonna be as big of I don't wanna say a burden, but, you know, issue as it was, but they're almost non-existent, you know, nighttime, you know, 6:01, they're done. But there's nobody coming down. We've tried a Facebook post, we tried, you know, come join us, come play in the ambulance. Nobody wants to do it. Both families, you know, both parents are working, they got kids, they got sports, the travel leagues. You know, the few that do come through, if they manage to stick it through for the training, that's it. You know, eventually there is gonna be there's gonna have to be a paid fire crew. There's gonna have to be, you know, continuing with the EMS. And when you start having people go up, like Phillipsburg now is almost paying $30 an hour. Well, that's gonna kill departments like us because we can't, you know, we don't have the call volume for that. You know, 10 years ago, 9 years, when I started, we were at 548 calls. Last year, we were at 1,278 or something like that. It's, you know, it's just, and it's right across the board. It's not like, oh, it's all this or it's all that. It's every kind of call you can think of, from the stupid clipped toenail to, you know, someone thinks they're sick. So, you know, you've got to respond to it because it's called. I don't have the magic wand, but I mean, I think just like I said, $155,000 to run a $500,000 organization. You know, we do get billing, but again, we can't balance bill Medicaid. So if we take a person who has Medicaid and we use everything in the ambulance, we get $55. If we have Medicare, we get $550. That's it. We can't balance billing. We don't hard bill anybody. We might have to get to that point. You know, we don't want to put anybody into collection, but my uncollectibles was over $200,000. You know, and I don't want to, you know, poor Mrs. Smith that's, you know, 85 years old on a fixed income. What do I do? Try to keep going after her for a couple $1,000s? You know, I wish I had the answer, but I'm just letting you know, like, for us, for our little organization, that's what we're up against. You know, my payroll's about $30,000 a month. So that's all I have.
Thank you for sharing that.
That pretty much covered most of it. We're all on the same boat.
Yeah, we all agree. We've been going back and forth with communication between us pretty well.
I do appreciate it, 'cause I know you're working well together, which mitigates some of the concerns that was shared, and you know, this is supposed to be the start of the conversation, having a report, hoping to garner some information, and kind of just really confirm a lot of the things that we thought, hoping for some glints of solutions, but I think we're you know, communication is maybe the key to try to find that.
Well, I mean, it's even getting tougher to do like the Easter egg ones. We try breakfast, it's,
No, and it's like, I think it's volunteerism, as you share, for everything is down, but what you do is critical, so not having volunteers for fire and rescue is extremely difficult. I think in Hunter County, as I was speaking with the commissioners last night, is more of a casual conversation, but the demographics in Hunter County changed, so, we had more active farms. We had more active business owners that were local and they need their business to go volunteer, and we don't necessarily have that same demographic now, so we lost a bit of the pool of folks as well.
and everybody's in it. The big guys are in it, they can say they're not. I know people on both sides. 91 Quakertown just got a huge grant, and now they're spending a good chunk, but it has to be towards retention and trying to get new people, and they're doing video, and they're doing Facebook posts and stuff like that. And they're still having, I talked to them, but they're still having issues because people are jumping to go to somewhere else because they're paying.
I think there are a few departments, larger, not just in Hunter County, that do an excellent job of recruiting younger folks to get started, and then they choose to make it a career somewhere else, and they go to an urban center, and they leave the state completely. And so now the volunteer organization is already strapped for funds, is paid for or invested in that training. And those individuals have now moved on. It's great that they found a career, but it doesn't help solve our problems.
Yeah, I lost 5 to go either nursing school or to be doctors. The one just graduated to be doctors, he's moving to Hershey.
It's commendable that we have that opportunity there, but it doesn't help solve the problem we're all.
Great for them, not for, great for them individually, not for squad.
They tell somebody they gotta give up 200 hours, so 2 nights a week and an all-day Saturday to do an EMT class. You sit in the first class and it's, you gotta read the first 9 chapters by Thursday, and you're gonna have a test to follow on Tuesday.
Not with balancing school, you're in school, and family, it's a lot.
Like I said, our commitment is we can advocate on the legislative side. We're always analyzing funding, but as you know, no promises, we're always analyzing funding. And again, it's not a solution, but communication, and try to work together and let you know that we do the commitment from us to try to find some solutions. So maybe say, well, I don't say formalize, but we'll keep the communication open, and it's not just these meetings. So like Paul said, there's an email, there's something that you need,
There's a book.
just let us know.
Paul, I offer our services to produce a recruitment video for the departments, if that's something that they believe would be helpful.
Yeah, we're open to anything. The problem is somebody's gotta look at it. Like we have our Facebook page, we got, like little posters that are going around in certain areas. If you wanna join, if you wanna donate, stuff like that.
Our website's actually fairly active. I think Lou and I are pretty proud. I think more people look at the Bethlehem Township, New Jersey site than the Bethlehem Township, Pennsylvania site. It took years to build that up. But social media is fairly robust as well, but it's not the end all be all, but any avenue. So we really appreciate that. I'll help in any effort too if you're doing that.
I'll follow up with you, Paul.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? And thank you for sharing. You said you're putting a lot of hours in out tonight, so I appreciate that. And again, the communication needs to stay open. We're committed to doing that with you.
Yeah, no, we appreciate just hearing us, so we just want you to know like what we're up against. It's, oh, look, there's the ambulance, there's this and stuff, but there's a lot of, behind the scenes stuff and, to make it happen. It's, second calls, that's what, for us, it's always like, we always get calls back to back. So it's okay, who's the second group, we had 3 calls to Saturday or something like that, back to back. It's like, what the heck? But it is what it is, you signed up for it.
Thank you. Any other public comment on this topic? Motion to close?
Make a motion to close?
There's one thing I'll ask. Real fast, did you guys sign the paperwork yet for?
I believe Mark did, if not, I will get,
I'm not, you know, I know that one time you guys waited to hear some stuff. and I-
yeah, we wanted to see a copy of it, just to see, they wanted to confirm everything was in there, so I don't know if that was sent over. But I know you were talking with Mark about that.
All right, so I just want to make sure that someone checked in. Also, for the chiefs here, I sent copies of the new EOPs at the state doing us, and everything was, I didn't hear back from anybody, so I'm assuming everything was okay in those, go with that? All right. I just gotta follow up with that and make sure. All right.
Yeah.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next discussion, continued participation in the Hunterdon Area Energy Cooperative. A motion for this discussion.
Make a motion on this discussion?
Second.
Second. Good night, gentlemen.
All in favor? Good night. Thank you.
Can I get a fee before you?
Just, I think this is renewal in November. We were one of the founding townships. I don't see any downside, because it's always, they guarantee the lowest rates, but KCP is the lowest rate. You get the lowest rate, so.
There's no cost to doing this.
No cost to join. There's 17 municipalities that participate, right now, and then the county, because, commercial entities are not allowed to participate. So commercial registered properties don't participate, but government entities are allowed to be carved out, so the county uses, the same, organization, to allow for discounts for the government, properties, which we also participate in, for our government buildings. The only thing I was disappointed in, but as I shared, I think it was 2 meetings ago, we had a rate locked in, or theoretically locked in for November. And it wasn't actually even the area cooperative or the consultants or us, the federal government allows, readjustments of that rate. And so it went up, as it was a percentage range. So it went up, but it's still, significantly lower than the JCPL rate will be on July 1 or June 1, July 1. June. So it's still about a penny and a half less than the JCPL rate. So, if you have any questions, concerns, so the motion to continue participate in the HABC.
I'll make a motion to continue.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Motion to close discussion.
Make a motion to close discussion.
Second. All in favor? We're municipal tax collector, is that? And see.
That was the meeting, yeah.
Thank you. So. I see, sorry, I was looking for the, property, this is just a aggregated thing. Report tax return?
No report tonight.
Very good report. A report of health and safety coordinator, Mr. Lindsay.
Nothing reported at the time, I gave a report last meeting. We had a meeting with the insurance company, last meeting, everything went well.
Very good. Report, Mr. Lindsay. Report of finance coordinator, myself. The only one thing I have, and I'm not gonna take it to executive, we can do an executive session if we need to follow up. But it's actually, it was the fire company, so, I spoke to Mr. Walton as the, chief's representative as we readjusted and explained how the contract works. And they will, Jen explained their situation. So there's two, they're happy to leave it alone, the way that we presented it this year. Or they asked that we issue 90% of their checks, pull back 10, and in November, when we're allowed to shift funds, reorient. But based on your face, I'm gonna say, let's keep it the way it is for this year, and then let them give it to each other. This year it is what it is, and then next year, looking, Mr. Lindsay, they may want to discuss, and I made it very clear, it's their choice what the percentage is. We have a pool of funds, we tell them what it is, and however they want to distribute that, we'll amend the contract as appropriate.
Yeah, whatever they say, if they want to distribute it differently, that's fine, but it's why, about 100, 20% each, or they do it the way they've done it. When they want to change that, that's up to them, however.
So we'll leave it for this, I explained it to the state review year, it's difficult to readjust the budget, so we'll leave it this year, and they can look at it for next year. So it takes one executive, unless there's something else you need to add.
Well, I think we should have an executive session, discussion about it.
Yeah, yes. Report, any other questions for me tonight about finance? I have no other updates on finance. Report land use coordinator, Ms. Nelson.
There's gonna be one application, last Monday night was deemed, deficient or incomplete, I should say. So they will be going back and working on that, but the more important is the affordable housing element coming up in June. So those discussions are gonna start to commence, and our planner is getting the first drafts ready.
We got to, approve as a committee by 10:30.
30th, yeah. So it's gonna be a,
Keep the builders remedy protection in place.
Right.
Any questions? During body members, Mr. Patton.
No report.
None? Mr. Lindsay?
Oh, nothing important. Jen, quick question for you.
yes,
I sent you the email a while back in regards to that, for the health insurance, that card, sort of discount card. I said, it should. Remember, she said, oh, you didn't know about it, look into it, it was really short. I noticed that Huntington County is one of the first towns in the counties into, I just not sure it's something with, we're looking at another double-digit increase in insurance. Again, next year, health insurance is going to say
I did look into it, I don't remember what but I found out about it, I will.
That's short,
Yeah,
might be on the table for next year to help us alleviate that increase.
Ms. Nelson?
I said this Monday night, but the Heritage Market is starting up again on June 6th, it's Wednesday. Also, tree trimming is, continuing in town. I've been kind of following with Jeff, going through after JCP&L has been through, after their tree service has been through certain areas, and there's a few trees that we are also marking that we will, and I've mentioned this before, that we will probably end up taking down after all is said and done.
Should June 6th or June 4th?
June 6th, well, whatever that Wednesday is the 4th. Here we go with the date again. Didn't we go through this last year?
Yes.
The 4th.
Okay.
That's it.
Report of Township Administrator?
I just be on, the auditors are here, so they're working on that, and, we'll have a report by the end of June, which is the state deadline.
Anything else? Report of Mayor. I shared this briefly with the planning board, I'll just start saying, you know, I think Bethel Township's done an excellent job with our master plan and our ordinances of zoning. In our intent to, prevent warehouses and the surrounding community around us. Is blooming, it seems like, with some warehouses, so the mayor in Bloomsbury and I, have been approaching DOT. They'll be working on setting up a meeting with Warren and Hunter counties. Mayor Patrick Stein also met with Senator Steinhardt on last Friday. And, the result of that, I think, you know, the current warehouse they're all addressing in Greenwich, I'm not gonna comment on it, 'cause it's still in their, purveyance. But if there's a positive, we've asked Senator Steinhardt to establish some regional discussions. Because as we do a great job of preventing warehouses, like I said, we have potential east of us and west of us. And there's definitely a lack of communication between Hunterdon and Warren County and then our, you know, communities, our municipalities right in Warren County. So we've asked Senator Steinhardt to help us establish some sort of, communication to talk about regional planning in a more meaningful way. When it comes to that, so that we're not impacted. As a side note, it does look like I had shared a while ago, there is a legislative bill, that's advancing pretty quickly and so that's positive support, limiting, warehouses within 1,000 feet of historic districts. And so it would impact any town to have a historic district outside of the town the warehouse is in. It's, there's a bit of home rule in New Jersey, but it is advancing, through the legislative track pretty quickly. That's the end of my report. Hopefully we'll see some positive regional communication. With that, can I motion for public comment?
Make a motion to open public comment.
Second, favor? Aye.
Suzanne Walker, 424 Charlton Road. Regarding the warehouses, my prediction is gonna be, and I know I talked to you when you were at the Environmental Commission, data centers which if you call it warehouse, anything from an environmental point of view, they're almost worse than your warehouses that you know today. They don't have as many trucks, but they use a lot of water and a huge amount of energy and create noise pollution, and they're pretty big and very detrimental to the surrounding areas. So if you do have more discussion, I would like you to make sure you keep that in mind, because I don't want to see one of those in town. So, thanks.
Barbara Cochran, 507 Charlestown Road. So is it voluntary for the residents to, the option of the Hunterdon Area Energy Cooperative?
Yes. You're
You
automatic.
can say they send a note and you say yes or
It's
no.
it's an opt-out program, but yeah.
You're automatically enrolled into it. They send you a note that you can voluntarily opt out if you wish.
Okay,
All right?
so they say you have to answer to that note.
And you can choose a green energy option as well.
Probably I have solar panels, so I'm not, they
Yeah,
don't
if you're
even
solar,
bother
you
sending
can.
me a note. Right. Second question. So we have the same company, Ayer Gruen and Associates, that did our master plan, our land use. They're doing also our affordable housing drives.
Good.
Yes.
And so we're paying them, then we're paying still, what was her name? The old lawyer from the planning board, Kira. We're still paying that for settlement? Are we still paying,
For settlements.
MYKL LLC is not,
It remains a special counsel for ongoing,
for settlement?
for the,
Might be some bills still coming.
yeah,
Review draft of settlement.
yeah, from the AES environmental.
So we're paying that,
She finished it out, we have the township.
so then we're paying the lawyer here, then you're cheap compared to the planning board, and we're paying 4 lawyers, right? Well, I find it expensive, well. Then I have another question. I'm not prepared. From the grant appropriation, you get grant fund, grant appropriation. You mean you have a fund where you get all the grants, but the money is not there, and so you have to send a receipt to it? How does it work?
What exactly?
It says Township of Bethlehem list of bills, right?
Yes.
And there's from grant fund, grant appropriation 52,000, right?
Yes.
Exactly. How does it work? You get a grant, you get a grant, but you don't get the money until you send in the receipts, correct? For the grant. So grant appropriation, what does it mean? That you send in the receipt?
So you're talking about the.
How come we have a grant fund when we don't have funds until we send receipts?
Some of them we do, like the DOT grants, we get 75% upfront.
Okay,
And this is the recreation grant for this one, so. And they want to see an actual cash check to verify that we actually made the payment to the company
exactly.
to get reimbursed for that.
So it says grant fund in the details, it's for the playground equipment, so the DCA grant. So we pay for it first, and then once we get the verification.
And this from DOT?
No, this is Department of Consumer Affairs.
Ah.
So we pay, and then we show them the check that it was deposited by Ben Schaefer Recreation, and then they reimburse us.
And this is the new playground?
Additional playground, inclusive equipment.
Okay. Then I had another question. Sorry. So we owe more or less, our obligation for affordable housing is about 205, something like that, right?
If you want.
The 155 we had from previous year that is disappeared?
It's part of the operational adjustment.
Nice. And of those 51, there's any TDR going in the center?
They're not allowed anymore. They haven't had allowed TDR since the first round. I wish, actually, I had proposed with other mayors a regional, planning, approach. So similar to TDRs, but not just pushing them off, but actually having a planning regional approach. Fortunately, they're about the municipalities, but no, we will, I believe we intend to, follow the same durational adjustment strategy from the last round. Because
So we only have 51 altogether from all the 4 rounds.
not from all of them, just from the round 4 to 51.
Okay, round 4, which is added to the 155 we had before. So it's 205, 200.
In total,
Yeah. And of this total, no TDR.
correct, but they can't be built based on being in the preservation area. As long as there's other parameters that most likely would never exist.
No, but we have the planning here. Okay, thank you.
All right.
In this last meeting, Charlie Maras was 102 Boston Road. I don't know if it was brought back up or not. On April 3rd, you brought up about doing maintenance for the schools on their mowers and snow blowers and all that. I was hoping that Ford tractor wasn't involved in it. That tractor's been sitting there for about 6 years now. They've done 2 clutches in it. And it's so expensive, that's why they haven't done it. So I don't think we should get involved in it. It's like $5,000 or $7,000 to fix the tractor. I just want to mention that. It's a lot of money just to, because they don't have the money to fix it, that's why it's sitting there. And then one other question, back on April 3rd. Remember the paving that Mr. Decker was explaining to me about the compaction? It was down 25% or something. It didn't meet the whole 100%, it only got down to 75% instead of 25%. So you take 25%, my understanding is you took 25% of the contract money out of that part of the paving, is that correct?
So you get paid a percentage of it was $100,000 to pave the road, and the average approval of the quality of the paving and compaction was 78%, we would pay $78,000.
Okay. And who's this fall back on? As in, was that Van Cleef's office for them doing inspections because they cheated us the 25%, or who?
It falls back on the contractor, so if it's below 55%, I believe it was 55%, the contractor would have to repave the road entirely at their cost.
Okay,
And then, so it's all regulated by DOT, so it's DOT inspectors, so the DOT did the compaction test. And then the contractor has the right to host or perform their own compaction test, sent to an independent lab.
right,
And then DOT takes the average of those.
okay. So Van Cleef had an inspector there while they were paving, or they're the contractors on his own?
Contractor is usually on his own because it's a specification that's set out for him to perform to.
I see. So out of that 78,000 that you paid him, what happens to the rest of that money?
State of the state, it's a grant. So
Oh, I see. Okay. All right, thank you.
I have a last question.
is everybody else spoken? Anyone have last week?
I have a last question. In 2018, the Highland Council, Block 18, Lot 2 in Bethlehem Township, right? Instead of building 20 units, they did a TDR for 2 acres, paying $160,000 an acre, right? And why can we not do some for 20 more units?
But I don't know where that block and lot is.
Block 18, Lot 2 is by the, is in between the highway and 173 towards, on the left-hand side, going towards Bloomsbury.
It's where the campers park.
Oh, okay.
That's a highland, that was preserved by the
I would have to
highway.
investigate because it's.
Instead of 20 units, they give $160,000 an acre, which is a lot. So why can't we not do some with the affordable housing?
Sorry, I'm misunderstanding. Who gave $160,000?
Okay, the Highlands Council Bank, the TDR Bank, right? In 2018,
So I've just seen TDRs.
instead of having 20 units, there's a ratio, right? That they,
And you refer to TDRs as a transfer credit?
yeah,
Okay. They didn't exist in 2018.
well, they got the easement of that place.
It's round one of the.
But instead of 20 units, that's how they, because I did ask, how did you calculate $160,000 per acre? Seems pretty high, right?
But what did they pay? I don't know. I still apologize. I don't, what did Highlands pay for?
20 units
So they gave the owner of that property $160,000.
per acre,
Did not build 20 units?
yes. So it's 2 acres,
I'm
$320,000.
not familiar with that.
Look into it. So why can we not do with a few?
It doesn't exist. I'm gonna look into it. I'm curious now, but it's my understanding that that doesn't exist.
Okay.
And, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's even a mechanism, because the township is the one who has to pay. We didn't pay. The Highlands can't pay, we don't pay, so I don't understand. I'll investigate it, because that's now my curiosity.
Block 18, it's in their on their website. I did further research. I offered because I found it very high.
In Highlands, it's on Highlands website?
Yeah,
Sorry, the block and line?
18 and 2.
block 18, lot 2. And it's supposed to be nothing in it because there's an easement, but now there is something on it.
Okay.
Does anybody care? I don't know.
Maybe she could send you what she found from the Highlands.
Yeah, because-
You know what's in. He has what you know, what he'll investigate.
Yeah, if you forward it, my email's on the website, if you forward it to me as an email, that'd be great. It's copy clerk as well. Clerk, I don't know.
One nice thing, so you were gonna work on, how to redact the zoning reports?
Yes, I don't think we have done that yet.
No. No.
Close public comment?
We have a motion to close public comment.
Second, all in favor? One contract issue, or actually, say two contract issues for, executive session. Anybody else need anything else to executive? Motion to enter executive session, no action will be taken, discussing two contract issues.
Make that motion to enter into executive session.
Second, all in favor? Aye.